those of you that have been with this channel for a while will know that for the most part I tend to do news videos, tutorials, and so on and so on. But I never really do gameplay, do I? Well, today we're going to mix things up a little bit. What we have today is a 40-minute long video. I say 40 minutes, I'm actually running it on 4x speed, in Cobalt Edge. So, last week, I took part in a fleet op, which is something I've not really been doing a great many of recently. And this fleet op was, of course, in Cobalt Edge. The objective was to take out an enemy outpost that was being anchored over there. Was it being anchored or was it reinforced? I don't know. But context aside, because I'm really bad at remembering these things, I thought it'd be nice and fun to head on over. Now, my corp leader, Taylor Rick, had asked that members of our corporation actually show up in stealth bombers, as opposed to the typical Doctrine ships that everybody else seemed to be flying. Basically, I had the opportunity to take part in a stealth bomber wing. Now, stealth bombers are something I quite enjoyed playing back in the old EVE Online days. That was before I actually had a job and so on to actually, you know, worry about things. But anyway, let's not put in too much nostalgia about EVE Online. The purpose of this video is for me to just provide some commentary whilst we have a PvP-esque video up on screen. So as we can see right now, I have warped successfully to the in-game location where the enemy outpost is. I refrained from using the actual bookmark to actually land me on the outpost because, again, our corp leader was asking people not to warp to the same location as him for fear of being decloaked. So I scanned down the location and started making my very own bookmarks. Here, I had to make myself two bookmarks, one on either side of the outpost, and this is where we placed the second 65-kilometre bookmark. So now that we have two, I warp between the two bookmarks just to make sure that both of them are working perfectly fine, that I can warp between them with relative ease. And of course now we start to see fellow fleet members start to warp in. And this is the point where we're ordered to decloak and start shooting at the outpost because the timer is up. So we start firing, and yeah, as you can see, I have started firing. At this point, I have completely forgotten to hit the missile implant button to actually toggle me over to the full EM damage, whereby I get a nice damage boost, as it were. I don't know how to explain it. With the EM implant, I did a video recently for Warhead Charge, and that's the implant that I've got running at the moment. And with me having the EM ability, if I hit that button, then my damage goes full EM and I actually get more damage, both from the implant and the fact that it meshes really well with the nano core and the ship's hull. Anyway, ranting aside, as we can see now, all of our fleet members have actually warped in. This is where the heavy hitters have arrived. And the outpost's hull is actually going down a lot faster now than it was before with just us stealth bombers. And as you can see, I'm just firing away, not really having to worry about anything whatsoever. Although, I do keep on warping every so often between locations. Now, as you can see right now, I'm currently looking at the fact that there are two outposts. A bit of a graphics glitch. We've got the actual target lock, and then where all of the effects, including weapons fire, seem to be going. Yeah, there's a reason why I never really did all that many big fleet ops, and that's because of just graphical errors like this. In fact, back in the day, all I used to get was black screens, which kind of put me off of fleet ops. But anyway, now, on the right-hand side, every so often, we're seeing neutral ships appear on screen. So I'm keeping a close eye to make sure that nothing gets too close to me, because if, say, an interceptor comes in too close, I need to warp off. And especially maybe even cloak if they haven't locked onto me yet. But they haven't, so I'm just sitting here, just waiting to see what happens. Tempest Striker, here we go. Capsulator Outpost just started trying to lock me. And now it's red boxed me. It took me a good while to realise that it was even yellow boxing me, so I didn't use my cloak. Instead, the only way to break the lock was to warp off to the other bookmark, which I did. And now There was a Slasher Interceptor on field ever so briefly, now an Atron Interceptor. Gotta keep a close eye on these things, make sure they don't get too close. And when they do, I do exactly what I just did then, a warp. Uh-oh, being yellow boxed again, and there was a short freeze. Now I'm being red boxed, and because the game was freezing all that much and I couldn't get into the bookmarks quick enough, I chose the Stargate to warp to at 100. Just gave me the opportunity to break the target lock, cloak back up again, come back in at a safe location and start firing, which is what I did. Yeah, sometimes with poorer devices like mine, if you can't load the bookmarks screen all that quickly enough, pick somewhere else. If you already have a button on screen that you can select to warp to, warp there. Anyway, as we can see, I'm continuing to bounce between different bookmarks, and the Outpost is nearly there. There we go, the Outpost is just gone boom. Has it just gone boom? There we go, now it's just gone boom. Called it a little bit too soon there, but we are running this on 4x speed. It's kind of hard to keep track. Anyway, now it's down to all of these enemy ships. The enemy did bring in lots and lots of ships to, defend the Outpost, so they should. And we're just picking off all the flies. Of course, there's an Orca in there, which has just gone boom. That was probably an Orca trying to make an emergency exit. I don't know what was going on there, but it was basically a free kill, that was. Now, at this point, the field is pretty much clear and there's just pods. So we're just taking out what pods we can, get some kill mail marks, because some of us didn't actually get kill mails on the big stuff. I think I got 3 kill mails of pods in this entire conflict. Nothing big. So, yeah, every little helps. Now we walk down to the gate to bubble it up and try to lock down some more enemy ships. We hold our cloaks at first. And then, any moment now, everybody will jump on in. Again, there's no local window in Cobalt Edge, so you don't really know how many people there are just cloaked up waiting to ambush you, or how many there are on your own side cloaked up ready to ambush. You just don't really know. It's kind of a blind game. It's quite enjoyable. Anyway, this is where our own fleet decloaks. I am hesitant at this point to decloak because if I decloak within, say, 5 to 10 kilometers of an interceptor, I'm dead. I can't provide any value to the fleet if I immediately decloak and get caught out by an interceptor. So I held off for a little bit, and as soon as I was confident I wasn't going to get tackled by an interceptor or a destroyer, I decloaked and started contributing to the fight. When you're something small and fragile, you have to worry about these things. Again, you're more use in the late game not dead than you are, dead, essentially. Anyway, we're continuing to pick off the remaining stragglers, and unfortunately, I can't keep in range with my weapons. It's a bit of a struggle here. So what's happening with me is, even though my micro warp drive's on, I can only move at 100 meters per second. That's because I need Bombard, I think it's Bombard, whatever the stealth bomber's ability is on to actually reach the targets with my missiles. But then I end up moving out of range because my enemy's moving faster than I am, so I then have to disable it so that I can catch up a bit. It's kind of a lose-lose scenario there, but that's what I had to deal with. I was able to get some damage off on some targets, but nothing massive contribution-wise. Anyway, as we can see now, the field is pretty much clear. There's a few pods that need removing, but that's it. Now everybody is talking about making it back to the exit wormhole. So I line up, I get ready, wait for the order to hear people starting to warp off. And then as I do warp off, which will happen fairly soon, you'll see that I just take my time jumping through the gates. I keep a rough eye on each of the stargates as I go through. Here's the kill mail. And as you can see, 7% damage in a Purifier 2. I was not flying anything expensive in this. In fact, the entire point was that I fly the cheapest possible ship that would still be able to contribute. I was planning on flying just the regular Purifier, the one that actually runs medium missiles. Only problem there was, that when I fitted the medium torpedoes to it, not medium missiles, I don't know why I said that previously, but when I tried to fit the medium torpedoes to the regular purifier, it didn't like it. The power grid, even though it said on the ship's hull that it has reduced power grid requirements for the torpedoes, it never applied for me, which is why I ended up with the purifier too. And the cat has just jumped on my lap. But anyway, now I'm just scouting ahead to the escape route, which is clear. I did say in the chat, which of course I've edited out, saying the route is clear now, guys. Go on through. But anyway, there was probably more than just me saying that the route was clear, so I don't know if anybody actually paid attention to my message. But hey ho, that is the end of the video, I guess, if you haven't figured by now. I don't know what I'm having for the end screen up right now. But yeah, this is something different. I can't say that I'll be doing all that many of these videos where I talk through exactly what's going on, because I don't really take part in all that many fleet battles to begin with. But I thought I'd do a video like this because the overwhelming majority of these fleet engagement battles that we see on YouTube tend to just have music over the top of them. And I'm not complaining there, sometimes it is good music. But there's no context, there's nobody saying, this is what's going on. A new player coming into the game watching that is seeing a lot of fancy icons on the screen zipping around all over the place. But they don't know what's going on. And I figured, let's take part in the trend of actually providing commentary to these. I know Taylor Rick has mentioned it on a couple of occasions. I think he was talking to Jubileus in one of the podcasts about possibly getting him to provide commentary, because he does a lot more of these videos. But anyway, I'll cut off the ramble at the end of this video. Thanks again for watching, guys. If you haven't hit that subscribe button already, it would be amazing if you did. If I can get to 500 subscribers, maybe I'll have just a little bit more power to actually get NetEase to enlist me as an official content creator. But anyway, until the next video, guys, fly casual and fly safe, or dangerous, whichever suits you, in New Eden.